The last week has been a roller coaster ride for me personally, where I was filming the last video last month, and as I was filming that video, I started coming down with an illness. And that illness unfortunately ended up being COVID-19, where it put me out for a few days, but then after that, I also couldn't go out anywhere because I was still coming up as positive. And today marks the day where I'm now COVID-19 negative, and I want nothing more than to go find some used PC parts. So let's go jump in the Tech Yes Mobile and go see what deals we can snag, but also talk about the market and see how that's going in terms of prices, where looks like GPU deals are starting to come up again. So let's go hit them up.
Are you tired of seeing this annoying activate Windows message? Then if so, today's video sponsor SCD Keys has you covered. For as little as $14 using the coupon code BFTYC, you can get activated today. Works for Windows 11 Pro too. Links in the description below.
So the first deal we've picked up here is a GTX 1650, and they wanted $265, I think it was, and I offered them $250 cash pickup. They said sure. I'll put up the USD pricing as well for you guys. So the fact that these cards are coming now around MSRP, at least compared to what they were, is a good thing, because you're able to build a normal, reasonably decent gaming PC for a decent price with the mark of this. And this was just sitting up on Marketplace. I asked them if anyone else had messaged them, and I think someone else had offered like 200, so they were hoping for 250. So we came in at the right price and got the deal. And so this marks the first deal of the month. And I mean, it's not a great price for a 1650, but at the same time, I need graphics cards. And of course, you guys know the NVIDIA graphics cards in gaming PCs, they do sell really well. So what we're gonna do right now though is there's another deal that I did put an offer in for. It was a GTX 970 where they wanted $100, and they said when it loads up games really heavily, it starts having a few little problems. So I offered them $80 and they said yes. So I'm gonna go pick up that right now, where I honestly think like I can change the paste around, maybe do some magic with it and try and get a full working GTX 970 for 80 Aussie dollars. So let's go get that right now. And now our next deal is a GTX 970, and we got this for 80 Aussie dollars. And they took me in and they showed me it all up and running, and I even ran a Heaven benchmark quickly just to make sure there was nothing drastically wrong. So what I'm gonna do is when I get back, I'm going to clean this all up, give it some new thermal paste, check the pads are all right, and then obviously try and run it for a lot longer than a minute. So, I mean, overall, 80 Aussie dollars for a 970, that's really good value. So, really happy about this deal right here. But what we're gonna do right now is I've actually got to go to Brisbane. I have finally got my visa application ready for Japan. So I might be able to finally, after it's been about 2.5 years, I'm gonna put in this visa application, hopefully I get approved, and I can go finally see my son. So we're gonna go drop that visa application off right now. Then while we're in Brisbane, we're gonna go see Les, because even though he's kind of retired, he is still doing used PC parts. Apparently he said he has some things for me, so who knows? Let's continue on with this used PC parts hunt. So we just finished up at Les's, and he still does have a few PC parts available. This time around, we picked up a heap of hard drives where we just did a lot bundle deal. I think I got 10 2TB hard drives and also 2 1TB, as well as 3 500GB hard drives for 250 Aussie dollars. So that ended up being pretty good. And then we had 4 monitors, one of those being a 20-inch, and 3 of those 22-inch. And we got the 22 inches for 35 a pop, and we got the 20-inch for 20, so 20 for 20. So ends up being probably the 20 inches the better of the values, but you always need monitors if you're doing budget gaming setup builds that you need to flip. And then also the final deal he had was a Lenovo second generation, had an i3-2100. I wasn't really looking at the CPU at all, but the motherboard and of course the power supply, you can recase those Lenovo's really easy. And so he just said, make an offer. I said, would you take 30 bucks for it? So he said, yes. So we ended up scoring that for 30 Aussie dollary dues. And that means now we're free agent status, where we've got to find some more deals. But I have put down a heap of feelers on a few different parts I'm still waiting on responses from. There was a GTX 1060 6GB, that's 250 Aussie dollars. I put down an offer of just 250 straight up on that because they go in gaming PCs. I mean, I recently sold a 1060 6GB gaming PC for around, I think it was like 900 Aussie dollars. So they do command on the used market 1060 6GB, still a good price when they put them in gaming PCs. So 250 for a 1060 is right about on my threshold. Then if it's a 1070, it's around about 350. So those two cards, of course, they're still very popular. If you can find a 1060 or a 1070 on the used market and it looks like it's a good deal, then always snatch it up. But what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna quickly just browse some deals on my phone, see if anything extra pops up, and also hopefully some people get back to me. If not, I'll just drive back to the coast and we'll check out what we've got so far. So quickly browsing, we found 3 potential deals, 2 of which haven't gotten back to us yet. One of those was a motherboard, an A320, they wanted 40, I put an offer of 30. Then there was a 1060, they wanted 300, put an offer of 250. Then the last one, this is looking like it's the best, and they're just messaging me now the address. They got 2 1050s, one a 1050 Ti 4 gig, the other a 1050 2 gig, and then they had a price on 100 on the 1050, and then on 1050 Ti they had 200, and I just said to them, look, what's the best price you can do? Come pick it up right now, cash. For the both of them, they said 200, and I'm like, okay, I'll come get two GTX 1050s for 200. So that's an absolute snipe job. Let's go pick these up right now, and that is the power of a quick mid-driving session, stop off on the side of the road hustle job. And now we're back at the tech, yes, studio. It's getting a little bit dark and we're bringing that energy for this month's parts hunt. Well, last month's parts hunt. I'm still gonna do another parts hunt later this month, but we ended up getting some really good deals, especially that last GTX 1050 and Ti combo. That ended up working out really well. What I'm gonna do now though is just quickly test out those 2 graphics cards, make sure they work. And in terms of other deals, the person with the A320, they did get back to us, said they would accept $30, but they got back to me when I got back to the Gold Coast, and they're back up at Brisbane near Les's place. So that's, I'm not gonna drive all that way just to go get one budget motherboard, because it's just not even gonna be worth the gas. And so what we got now is a total here that ended up being really healthy this month around. I mean, we spent about $400 at Les's place, coupled with the $250 for the 1650, $200 for the other graphics cards, and then $80 for the GTX 970. So that leaves us with about $920 total for the month of February. So this month has been really good so far. I'm actually gonna call it a one-day parts hunt just because I've got to get through a lot. I've had a bit of a backlog and this sickness has pushed me back a little bit in terms of my timeline. But there's also some other really good news, and that is I do have contact now with Les's supplier. So I am gonna see if I can source out some parts from him. And I asked Les, is it okay? And he's like, yeah, because Les is really only doing a few things here and there. He's sort of dropped his rhythm down a lot in the last few months. So last parts hunt, I thought he was he said he was going to quit the game, but I knew he wouldn't quit the game. He'd keep doing he'd reduce his schedule down to what he knows is best. And he's sort of left a lot of the desktop stuff, which I absolutely love, the gaming PC industry in terms of the desktop. So I'm going to keep finding the best deals I can, and hopefully we'll build up some really good budget price performance PCs with these deals that we got on the table here. So that is the list of the parts that we have picked up this month. Do let us know in the comment section below, what was your favorite deal of this month? Me personally, it's looking like those two 1050 and 1050 Ti that we snagged up in that combo. Definitely representing good value for money, especially if you want to build out a budget gaming PC. But going forward, you guys might want to know, okay, what is the direction of PC parts prices? Graphics card prices going to come down more? And what we're seeing now is just a really uncertain situation. There's the situation in Ukraine that's developing, and that is unfortunately one that you kind of like, as a YouTuber in tech, I kind of feel, I don't know, maybe guilty talking about just prices in this stuff when people over there are just having a really tough time. And so it kind of sucks to see that news and what's going on there, and just the madness that's unfolding. It seems like ever since 2020, the world's just gone from one madness level to another, and it just keeps getting worse. And so what good are prices of anything if you can't even enjoy anything because of just the madness going on? But then again, if we're looking at just the prices of PC parts, generally when you have uncertainties lead to higher prices, because central banks then jump back on the printers, they start printing more money. And so we could see, for instance, the US, the Federal Reserve, and then Biden says, okay, we're going to step in. And then after that, we start seeing the Federal Reserve start funding that, and that then equals more inflation, because money's, again, the printers are rolling back up. So that's one outlook at the moment, where it's just about, and I've said this over the last year, it's my motto, and that is just, I'm rolling with the punches day by day. I'm just looking for good deals. If good deals come up, I'll snatch them up. But what constitutes a good deal? And that's just mainly looking at the price of something brand new on the shelves and looking at the performance you're getting there, then looking at the used market and how much you can pick a particular card up for off the used market. And then of course, it's looking like these used cards, especially the ones that I picked up today, if you can get graphics cards for these prices, you're going to be doing really well, in my opinion. So that's sort of my outlook, is that it can go either way. Prices could come down even more, but prices could definitely go up if there's more catalysts that cause the printers to roll back up again. But as the current trajectory stands, if interest rates go up and then the money goes from easy to tight, then you'll see graphics card prices come down even more. So that's one of the things to look out for. Just be on your toes. And of course, if you really need a gaming PC right now and you really can't live without one, then you might want to think about getting your stuff now, because it is not a bad time. Some of the builds that I've been putting together, some of the deals I've been getting in the last month have been actually pretty good. And it's sort of starting to remind me of pre-COVID sort of deals. It's sort of that vibe is starting to come back, even though it's a much different vibe. So it's just, again, crazy times. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to doing what I do best, and that is getting the deals, giving you guys the best content I can. And I think that's all I really can do, is try and maybe put a smile on some of you guys' faces out there. So basically, if you guys can get a good deal on some of these GPUs, then go get yourself a good deal, especially if you can't live without it. But anyway, guys, with that aside, I hope you enjoyed this month's parts hunt. And with that aside, we've got the question of the day here, which comes from F. And they ask, are they limiting the number of PCIe lanes because of the semiconductor shortage? And they're referring to AMD and the 6500 XT, where we did in a recent video where we looked at PCIe Gen 2 versus 3 versus 4. And the 6500 XT, it was in a league of bad compared to the other cards in that video. And in the case of AMD, it wasn't really a semiconductor shortage so much as it was them using a laptop GPU and cutting costs as much as possible. And then they didn't reconfigure that card at all for the desktop market. And so you were left with 4 lanes, and they decided for whatever reason that would be good for most gamers, especially ones who are on the entry level. And it ended up just being a card that only really works with PCIe Gen 4. If you've got a Gen 4 platform, which you're going to be paying more money for, then you can utilize the budget card from AMD. But most people want to get that budget card and go with a budget setup, and that's where they're going to come into some problems. So I hope that answers that question. And with that aside, I'll catch you guys in another tech video very soon. And if you stayed this far and you're enjoying that Tech Yes content, be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out for now. Bye.